Thank you, I appreciate that. Here you go. You know, 1 in every 12 Americans is unaware that the bird is a word. I, for one, believe in America where everyone knows that the bird is a word. Bird, bird, bird. But bird's a well, bird, bird, bird.
You don't have to be from Boston and be wicked bad at parking the car in the garage to be a masshole. No, hang on. I like Boston, and I like Bostonians, and they got a bum deal when somebody came along and tagged them with the masshole label. Now, the massholes that I'm talking about here, well, they don't know any geographic boundaries because they exist everywhere. In every state, in every city, in every town, there are massholes in every neighborhood, even sometimes in our own families, in our own homes, heaven forbid, in our own bathroom mirrors. Please, God, don't let me be a masshole. And it's time for another unbuckled, bumpy ride with your guide, the stark raving LEAN-atic himself. I'm Jim. Let's jump right in again. Welcome to my podcast based on my brand new book, available on Amazon, Live Life Lean, L-E-A-N. It's a year-long guide to gratitude and our daily grind. The book that combines some timeless wisdom from a whole lot of the world's wiser people with the reflections, reactions, and wisecracks of the guide's author, me. And it guides you, the reader, through the simplest system for a happy, healthy, authentic, and genuinely grateful everyday experience. I urge you to get the book. Of course I do. I wrote it. It's either at Amazon or at my website, ampurage.com. A-M-M-P-U-R-A-G-E. But even without it, let's make next week better than last, our next year better than the past, and get started now with today's episode of... So what is a masshole, you ask? Well, it kind of is what it sounds like, but of course, it's a little more. It's a behavioral black hole that sucks the good out of others around them, and it tends to generalize. And in generalizing, it generalizes and it justifies. You like that word I did there? Justifies. It justifies their lowball approach by comparing themselves with others who, as they see it, so they say, just do the same thing. But in reality of black and white TV vision, they're frequently massholes. They're frequently the leaders and acting like losers. I don't want to be that. Massholes are really the people that they blame for the way things turn out. They're too often blaming and shaming others, but too infrequently claiming. Massholes aren't claiming ownership for their own actions, their own part that they played in digging that massive hole that people tend to trip and stumble into. There's been an age-old argument that do we as humans more often follow a leader or do we follow the masses? Well, a masshole is the example of being a leader at the job of acting just like the masses. Well, and why shouldn't they? After all, I mean, everybody's doing it. And besides, they say, I could be so much worse. They argue defensively. You know, the funny thing is, though, the masshole never says this. Wow, I could be so much better. This is the behavioral black hole that is the masshole. And they, massholes, at one time or another, have been me. Maybe even all of us. We, at times, en masse, we shirk and shuck ourselves into shielding behind a badge of, well, everybody does it, and even oftentimes under an umbrella of, oh, it'll be all right just this once. The masshole is more than just the person. The masshole is the place. It's the grave that we dig ourselves, and it's where we bury our own greatness. And yet, it's somehow just never quite deep enough to let us hide all of our regret. What else is the masshole? The masshole makes a whole lot of excuses whenever they lose. But we've never done that, have we? What else does a masshole do? The masshole holds grudges, massive grudges. They make flawed rationalizations, but they excuse, and no one else even calls them on their own flaws. And then they hide, all holed up, in a hole with the rest of all the masses. Massholes? They take, and the only time that they give is when they wholeheartedly give up. I don't want to be a masshole. What else do massholes do? They massacre trust. They massacre it by massaging true facts to fit their specific needs and not those that tell the whole story. Massholes look for loopholes. They boast out of their blowholes. They peek and peep through keyholes that they don't belong anywhere near. And that they run and then they hide in foxholes. But rarely ever, if never, do massholes hold up as an admirable example for the masses. Reminds me of the story where our own choices may be what others say they understand, but its message will dissolve the masses right where they stand. You see, there was this blind girl who hated herself purely for the fact that she was blind. And she took it out on others, and she made it very tough to be around her. But folks said that they understood because of how hard it must be to live life blind. You know, the only person that she didn't hate was her loving boyfriend, as he was always there for her, always. She said that if she could only see the world, that she would accept his proposal and marry him. One day, someone donated a pair of eyes to her. Now, after surgery, she could see everything, including her boyfriend. Her boyfriend asked her, "Dear, now that you can see the world, will you marry me?" The girl was shocked. Shocked when she saw that her boyfriend was a little facially disfigured and blind too. And so she refused to marry him. Her boyfriend went away in tears. And later, he had someone write and deliver a letter to her that said, "I accept your decision, dear. Please, just take care of my eyes, dear." When our circumstances change so that we become more like the rest of the world frequently, so do our minds and so do our hearts. And that can be being a masshole. Some people may never be able to see the way things can be and might not be able to appreciate them for their possibilities until they step out of the masses, quit digging themselves, quit digging ourselves into a hole, and we have to seek to see outcomes through another's eyes. We've all learned that in a panic, it's not traditional wealth that will separate the haves and the have-nots. In our most recent panic, what separated the haves and the have-nots was toilet paper. And in this messed up, mixed up, masshole world of ours, who would have seen that coming to pass? Now, more wise words to wow your socks off from the Lean Guide itself. Entry number 250. You can give without loving, but you can never love without giving. Robert Louis Stevenson. And the guide's point of view? Well, I wish I'd known this. I wish I'd known this one before I believed a certain someone when what they gave me was some line about them loving me. Just saying for a friend. What do you think about that? What have you learned lately that has such great value? What have you earned that you did the tough stuff to work for and it wasn't just handed to you? Where have you added to the world beyond just what's immediately around you? And now, look and navigate somewhere next. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying your copy of the Live Life Lean, L-E-A-N guide. Enjoying it almost as much as I did creating it. And if you don't have a copy yet, go on over to ampurage.com or Amazon and get started today experiencing the amazing power of knowing every day is literally yours to be grateful about. And you need never feel unfulfilled again. I'm Jim Hall. And until next time, good health, God bless. And now, go get a little dirty learning something new. Earning what's not given to you. Adding to this crazy world that we share. and navigating your way to something new and next.